Thanks for joining me in the home studio for a nice, easy, gentle, beginner-friendly flow. Before we get started, make sure that you have a block or a bolster if you want something for support as we go through our practice. And if you have any concerns, always consult your doctor. To begin, we're going to start in our easy seat. So find either a nice simple cross-leg position. You could either be on your shins, you could be on the knees, whatever kind of allows you to ground yourself down. We'll start by placing the hands face down, closing the eyes and putting a little tuck in the chin. Take a nice deep breath in. Let it go. One more deep inhale. Nice long exhale. Take some little adjustments as you bring those shoulders over the hips. Start to reach through the crown of the head so the spine is nice and long. Now let's work on evening out those breaths. So our inhale, we're going to count to 4. Pause for a count of 1. And then exhale for a count of 4. Pausing at the bottom of the breath for a count of 1. Working our way into that rhythm. Nice steady inhales and equal length steady exhales. Start to relax the forehead, soften the eyes and the jaw. Allow the shoulders to soften. Let each round of breath bring a wave of relaxation over the body. Letting you start to ground down into this position. And getting more comfortable with each round of breath. Now start to move the awareness from controlling the breath to just observing the breath. Observe the length of your inhales and exhales without dictating them. Noticing if they stay steady, if the quality of the breath shifts a little bit, if maybe the exhale is slightly longer or the inhale. Just observing those differences and what makes up your natural rhythm. Internalizing the awareness a little bit further each round of breath. As you start to work the mind in deeper and deeper, draw the awareness down to the center of the chest, your heart space. And in this space, try to bring up a memory of gratitude and allow that memory to flood and envelop you. Feel it, relive it. And as that gratitude washes over your entire being, this is a beautiful spot to set your intent for this practice. When you're ready, take a deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. If we're in a cross-leg position, we're going to switch what foot is on the outside and the inside. And then slowly drop the chin to the chest. Drop those shoulders down. Let the back of the neck stretch. Then roll the right ear to right shoulder. The neck down and back. Left ear to left shoulder. Chin the chest. Let's do 2 slow rotations in this direction. Nice and steady. Reaching up the cervical spine. And when the chin is back at the chest, take a nice pause and a deep inhale through the nose. Letting it out. Then we'll roll the left ear to left shoulder. The neck down and back. Right ear to right shoulder. Chin the chest. And 2 more rotations, nice and steady. Last rotation. And the chin is back at the chest. Take a nice deep inhale. Letting it go. We're going to be moving into easy twist. So on the inhale, we bring the arms and the gaze up to the ceiling. On the exhale, we're going to twist towards the right. We're planting the right hand behind us and the left hand on the outside of the thigh. Push through the heel of the right hand to keep that spine nice and long. Gaze is over that shoulder and behind you. 1 more breath. We're going to be moving to the other side, so we inhale back up to that midline, getting the length. And then exhale, twisting towards the left, placing the left arm behind us, right hand on the outside of that left thigh. Make sure you're pushing through the heel of that left hand to keep the spine nice and long as you twist. And the gaze is over that shoulder and behind you. 1 more. Inhaling back up to the midline, interlace those fingers and push the palms to the sky. We're just going to take a little hinge here. As we exhale, we just hinge over towards the right. We push through the heels of the hand, try to keep that left hip ground down to the mat. It's not a big hinge. Inhaling out to the center. And then exhaling, taking a nice soft hinge to the left. As we push through the palms of the hands, you keep the right hip ground down. 1 more. Inhaling up. And exhale, release those arms down. We're coming into cow-faced arms. So we're going to start with the right arm out first, left arm on top. As we bend those elbows, we start to wrap the forearms together. Now if you could bring the palms of the hands together, that's great. If you notice, I have my fingertips to the palms, or you could do back of the hands to back of the hands. Either way, we want the gaze to be neutral as you bring those elbows up parallel with the nose. Allow the back of the body to round slightly so the back of the ribcage can open up. Feel that little pull on the back of the shoulder blades. On the next inhale, we're going to bring the elbows and the gaze up to the ceiling. As we exhale, we round, taking a little bit of a crunch as we bring those elbows into the chest. Bring the chin downwards, and bowing the head. Inhaling up. Exhale, release those arms. Give those shoulders a little roll. Roll them back. Roll them forward. And we'll get ready for the other side. This time we bring the left arm out first, right arm on top. We wrap as we bend those elbows, taking our hand position and lifting the elbows up towards the nose. Let the back round slightly so the back can open up and breathe. 1 more breath here. Then on the inhale, we bring the elbows and the gaze up. Exhale, take that crunch. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, release. Give those shoulders your roll. Rolling them back. And rolling them forward. We're moving into bound angle. So we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Now, the closer we bring the soles to our groin, the more of a stretch we're going to get in the hip flexors. The further we are away, the more we're stretching and working our hamstrings. So think about where your legs are and what part of the body you want to work. Since I have a torn hamstring, I'm going to stay closer to the hip flexors, bringing my heels to the groin. Now, if it hurts the knees, you can always bring your blocks underneath. Slightly roll back so you get those shoulders over the hips. Reach nice and long through the crown of the head. Take a deep inhale, letting it out. We're going to take a fold here. So we want a little bit of a pre-tilt in the pelvic. You may need to adjust your seating. As we inhale, we bring those arms up, triceps by the ears. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, working the hands out in front of us. The gaze is down, but beyond you. Now we're trying to work that chest down towards our toes. So keep the neck nice and long. Keep a good gap between that chin and chest. One more breath here. We slowly use the core and the inhale to rise the body back up. Exhale, planting those arms down, and we extend the legs out to staff pose. Now, you want to try to get both legs nice and long, feet are flexed to the ceiling. Again, I have a torn hamstring, so my right foot's going to stay bent, but I'm still keeping this left one engaged. Get my pre-tilt in the pelvic so I have that natural hinge forward. We're coming into our seated forward fold. So on the inhale, bring the arms up with the gaze. And like we did with the bound angle, exhale, hinge and fold forward. We're reaching our hands towards our toes. If you can't reach, grab the thighs, grab the shins. The gaze again is beyond you and down, but you want to keep a good gap between that chin and chest. As I get more strength back into my legs, this one will start to be able to straighten out more. If your hamstrings or the back of the legs are tight, keep both legs bent as you hinge forward, but still try to work on keeping the spine nice and long as you bring the belly towards the thighs. We inhale, halfway lift, get a little bit of length, nice flat back. And exhale, fold it down just a little bit further. 2 more breaths here. Slowly, we're going to inhale, roll the body up. And we're moving into seated gait. So we're coming back into that easy seat. On the inhale, we're going to bring the left arm up, tricep by the ear. On the exhale, we plant the right hand down by the hip, bend the elbow behind you as you hinge towards the right side. Work the gaze upward. You're pulling through those fingertips so this extended arm is engaged as you're actively pushing the left hip into the mat. Only bend and hinge as far as it feels comfortable. When we roll that shoulder behind us. 1 more breath here. Then inhaling up to the midline, bringing the opposite arm up. When we exhale, we plant the left arm down and then start to hinge towards our left side. This time actively pushing the right hip into the mat as you roll the shoulder behind you. Bring the gaze up. You're pulling through those fingertips to get a nice little stretch down through the side. 1 more breath. Inhaling back up. Interlace those fingers 1 more time. Push the palms to the sky. Deep breath here. And release. We're going to be moving into our cat-cow and tabletop. So we roll on to our hands and knees. We want to make sure that those knees are right underneath the hips and the hands are right underneath the shoulders or just a little bit before so we don't overcompress in the wrists. Untuck those toes. This is our neutral spine and our tabletop. To move into our cat-cow, on the inhale, we drop the belly, bring the gaze to the ceiling. Take the pause when you take the pause in the breath. Then exhale, round the spine, bringing the chin in, pushing the back and shoulders up. Taking your pause here. We're going to do a few rounds of this, moving at our own breath. Try to get the length of your movement to match that 4 count inhale and that 4 count exhale. Finding the pause in the pose. We find the pause between the inhale and exhale. Let's do 2 more in each direction. And meet me in the neutral spine when you're done. From here, we're going to be moving into our first down dog. So we inhale, tuck those toes, lift those knees. We exhale, push the hips up and back. Bring the triceps around the ears. Now, if the backs of the legs are tight, or if you're working with a leg injury like I am, keep those knees bent as you bring the belly to the thighs, pushing those hips up high. If the hips are tight, bring your feet as wide as the mat. But if you're nice and loosey-goosey and your legs feel great, you can work on straightening those legs as you bring the hips up higher. We're going to take a few rolls here from our down dog to plank, just to warm up the shoulders in the movement. So like with our cat-cow, we inhale, bring the body forward. Engage the glutes and the core. Exhale, push those hips up and back. Take a breath here. Next inhale, we bring the body forward. Exhale, push those hips up and back. We'll do 1 more round. Inhale, bring the body forward. Exhale, push those hips up and back. Take 2 breaths here. We're getting ready to come to the top of the mat. To do this, we come high on those toes, bend those knees, gazes at the palms. You can either hop, take a nice big step, or a million baby steps, and end in your forward fold. Again, if you are having leg issues, keep those knees nice and bent. Let the belly rest on the thighs. We inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale with strength. We're rising all the way up. Engage the core to the upward salute. So palms and gaze goes to the sky. Exhale down to Tadasana. Roll those shoulders back. Give them a little roll forward. In our Tadasana, we want those feet underneath the hips. Shoulders are down and back. Thighs are lifted and engaged. Palms are forward. Nice, deep inhale. Let it go. On the next breath, we rise it up to our upward salute. Palms and gaze to the sky. Exhale, swan dive it down into your forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift, nice flat back. Exhale, fold it down. On the inhale, we're going to plant those hands and step it back to that high plank. When we lower down into our chaturanga, we bend from the elbows but bring them into the rib cage as we slowly exhale the body down to a hover. On the inhale, drop the pelvic, untuck those toes, bring the chest up to your cobra. You could be high or you can be nice and low. 2 more breaths here. We're moving into down dog. So we inhale, lift up slightly, tuck those toes. Exhale, push those hips up and back. Now we're going to be moving into high lunge. So on the inhale, we're bringing that right leg high, but we're working on keeping those hips squared, push through the toes. On the exhale, we bring the knee to the nose as you round the spine to plant the foot between the palms. Stay high on the ball of the back foot as you even out your weight between the 2 feet. Use the core and the breath to lift the torso up. Working those triceps by the ears. The back knee is lifted and engaged. You're squaring the shoulders and the hips to the top of your mat. Put a little deeper bend in that front knee. If you want to practice, you can start to bring the palms of the hands together. Just keep those triceps up. 3 more breaths here. slowly moving into triangle pose. So on the inhale, we straighten that front leg, ground down the back foot, the arms go out wide. You may want your block for this on the inside of the foot. On the exhale, we push the hip back as we take a hinge down, bringing the right arm to the block, our floor or our shin, left arm and the gaze up to the sky. Keep breathing. Try to imagine a nice long line from fingertip to fingertip or from wrist to wrist. We're working on stacking those shoulders. Two more breaths, and then we're moving into revolved warrior. So start to engage the core, bring the belly button in, and on the inhale, we lift the torso up. Bring the gaze forward, flip the palm. Exhale, bend the front knee, and start to take that back bend as you bring the left hand down the back, right tricep to the ear. If you don't want to overcompress, you can bring the hand along the low back and take a softer bend. This back foot stored at a 45 degree, and I'm bending that knee forward. One more breath. And we inhale up to the neutral, straighten that leg. We're getting ready to go to the opposite side. So you bend the knees, you cartwheel those arms down, pivot on the ball of that back foot. Inhale, step it back to plank. Exhale, lower down in your chaturanga. And inhale, take that nice cobra for a few breaths. We're getting ready to go to down dog. So as we tuck the toes, we inhale, lift the torso up. Exhale, those hips go back. Take a good breath here. We're coming into that high lunge on the left side. So we're inhaling the left leg high. Exhale, the knee comes to the nose as you round the spine and plant the foot. Grounding down through the planted feet. Stay high on the ball of that back foot. Then use the breath and the core to inhale, lift yourself up. Exhale, we sink in a line. Squaring off those shoulders, those hips, putting a nice bend in that knee. Making sure it stays in line with the toe. The back knee is lifted and engaged. Triceps are up, gaze are forward, and if you want, you can bring the palms together. Three more breaths here. We're getting ready to go to that triangle pose again. So as we inhale, we straighten that leg, ground down that back foot at a 45 degree. Open those arms out, shoulders are stacked over hips. On the exhale, push the hip out as you take your hinge. Bringing the hand to the inside of the shin, the block, the floor, as you bring the opposite arm and the gaze up to the sky. We're getting ready to move to that revolved warrior. So start to bring the belly button in. As you engage the core on the breath, you inhale, lift the torso up. Flip the palm, exhale, bend the knee, and take your back bend. As we trickle the hand down the back thigh, we're still bending on that front knee, working that tricep to the ear. And again, if you don't want to overcompress in your back bend the elbow, wrap it around the small of your back, and take a softer approach here. As we bend on that front knee a little bit more, make sure it stays in line with the toe. So it's just a slight outward rotation in the thigh. One more breath. We're going to get ready to cartwheel it down. So we first inhale the body up, straighten the leg. Exhale, bend the knee, pivot on the ball of the back foot, frame out the front. Inhale, stepping it back. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. And exhale, we're coming into child's pose as the knees go wide. You push the booty back towards the heels, bring the forehead down to the mat. Give yourself a few deep breaths here. We're going to start to work our way back to that Tadasana. So we first inhale, bring the body forward, find that high plank. Exhale, lower down, Chaturanga. Inhale to that Cobra just for a pause. Exhale, find the down dog. We're coming to the top of the mat, so we inhale, come high on those toes, bend those knees, bring the gaze forward. A nice step or a hop. And exhale in that forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhale, fold it down. Next breath, we rise nice and high. And into our Tadasana on the exhale. Give those shoulders a little roll back, a little roll forwards. We'll readjust our alignment, make sure those feet get underneath the hips. Shoulders are down and back, palms are forward. We have one more standing flow. Take a nice deep inhale. Let it go. On the next breath, we rise high, upward salute. Exhale, find the forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift, nice flat back. And exhale, fold it down. We inhale, plant those hands, step it back to that high plank. Exhale, lower down in your Chaturanga. Inhale to your Cobra. Hold this for 2. 1. Then exhale, back to down dog. From here, we're coming into lizard. So we're going to inhale the right leg high. When we exhale, we want to bring the knee to the outside of the right elbow so you can plant the right foot on the outside of the right hand. Now you can stay high here. Lizard is very fun, so you can play with this how you want it. You can drop that knee and tuck that toe. You can roll to the side. You can come down onto your forearms. If you're super flexible in the hips, you can come into the hip flexors, or you can use your blocks for stability. Either option. We're going to be here for 5 more breaths. So maybe just take a few rounds to play with it. From here, we're coming into low lunge. First, we're going to plant that foot, tuck the toe, lift the knee, all come to a high lizard. We're heel-toeing the foot in so that it's underneath the armpit. As you hinge the body forward, you drop the knee and tuck the toe. On the inhale, you're going to bring the torso up to the neutral spine. Before we take the back bend, we want to make sure those hips are squared. So is the shoulder. You can rest here, or you can start to lead with the shoulders as you take the mini back bend. Three more breaths. We're going to get ready to go to the opposite side. So we inhale up to the neutral. Exhale, hinge, plant those hands. Tuck the toe, lift the knee, inhale, step it back to the high plank. Exhale, lower down in your Chaturanga. Inhale, take that pause in the Cobra. Getting ready for the down dog, we tuck those toes, inhale, lift up. Exhale, push it up and back. Coming into that lizard on the left side, we inhale the left leg high. Exhale the knee to the outside of the left elbow so you can plant the foot on the outside of the hand. And again, take your variation. You can stay high here. You can roll to the side of the foot. You can drop the knee, untuck the toe. You can work the body down. Now, as you notice and you play with lizard, you'll start to really observe the differences between the left and right sides of your body. And your variations might be different because of that. For instance, my left side's a little bit more open, so I can take a deeper variation and a much lower lizard on this side. But whatever variation you take, we're going to hold this for 3 more breaths. We're getting ready for that low crescent lunge. We're all going to come to the high lizard on the inhale. So we tuck the toe, lift the knee, heel toe that foot underneath the armpit. Make sure you're framed out. As you hinge forward to drop the knee, untuck the toe. Inhale, lift the chest up to that neutral spine. Take your alignments first, and then take the back bend if it feels good. One more breath. We inhale up to the neutral. Exhale, plant those hands, tuck the toe, lift the knee, step it back to plank, and then lower down in your chaturanga. Inhaling to that cobra. And we're going to move in the child's pose. As we inhale, we push the body up, bring those knees wide. As you exhale, push the booty back towards the heels. Let's give ourselves 4 to 5 breaths here. On the next inhale, slowly roll the body up. We're going to get ready to come down onto our backs. So however you want to get there, either roll to the side or just bring the feet forward. We're going to slowly roll the body down, nice and controlled. Bring those arms overhead, extend through those fingertips and toes, give yourself a nice full body stretch. And we're going to slowly bring those knees into the chest. Pull from the shins in nice and tight so the mid-back can get flat to the ground. And you get a nice little stretch in that lower lumbar. We're going to extend the right leg nice and long. Place the right hand on the right hip so you can keep yourself ground down. As you grab the shin with the left on the inhale, we're just going to pull slightly towards the left side. It's not a big opening. Keep that left foot flexed and try to keep the right shoulder and hip ground down into the mat. Two more breaths here. Inhale that shin back up to the midline. Switch those hands. The left arm comes out like a goalpost as you grab the shin with the right. On the exhale, we're going to lift and stack the hip as you pull the shin over towards the right side, coming into your supine twist. Bring the gaze over towards that left hand. One more breath. We inhale, bring the gaze and that shin back to our midline. Straighten out the spine, pull that right leg in, grabbing both shins nice and tight, letting that lower lumbar lift. And then extending the left leg nice and long as you bring the hand on the hip to help keep you ground down. Flexing through that right foot. On the inhale, we're going to pull that right shin open to the side. Again, it's just a little opening. We want to feel like this right side of the body is going to lift, but we're keeping it ground down. We're going to get ready to go into that supine twist. So when you find the next inhale, bring the shin and the gaze up to the midline. Switch hands on that shin as you bring the right arm out like a goalpost. Then on the exhale, we pull the shin across the body as you lift and stack those hips. Bring the gaze over to that right arm, coming into your supine twist. And keep aware that you're not grabbing from the knee joint. You're either grabbing from the knee to the thigh or from the shin. And if you notice, my knee isn't touching the ground, and that's okay. In time, maybe my twist will be deep enough that it gets there. But today, this is where it is. One more breath. And inhale, bring the gaze, that shin up to the midline. Pulling both knees in towards the chest. We're moving into happy baby. So we're going to bring those knees wide as they come in towards the armpit. The feet are flexed. Go to the ceiling. We're either grabbing from the toes or from the feet as you pull those knees closer into the pit. We want those feet going straight up so you have a nice 90-degree angle in the leg. If it feels good, you can rock from side to side. Massage out the low back and the hips a little. Just enjoy the stretch. And for a fun fact, because I will never not say this, in the yin practice, this is called gas releasing pose, which makes me laugh every time. So take one more breath here. As you exhale, slowly bring the feet and the shins down, pull them in nice and tight. And before you set up for your Shavasana, take any other movements you want to do. You can do any little rocks from side to side, any little stretches. You want to allow yourself this time to take any organic movements to really understand what it is the body wants and needs, and allow yourself to move that way. And then when you're ready, grab anything you want to help make your Shavasana, that final resting pose, more relaxing. I'm going to bring my heels on top of a block, because that little inversion is comfortable for me. As I get myself into that final resting position, closing the eyes, softening through the face, and maybe taking a few rounds of longer exhales to help wind the body down. Slowly start to bring the awareness into the breath. And without control, just observe the rise and fall. The length and the feeling of the inhales and the exhales. Noticing the cool breath in, the warm breath out. Maybe observing the pause in between the inhales and exhales if you create one. And also observing how the body moves with the breath. How the lungs and chest expand to accommodate it in. What areas of the body compress to help push it back out. perfect harmony that the body and the breath has. And then being mindful on how you can bring that harmony into the rest of your day. You can slowly bring some movements into the fingers and toes. Maybe give that neck a really good stretch from side to side. With the eyes still closed, you'll bring those knees into the chest one last time. And you'll surrender over to the side that serves you, sealing your practice in the fetal position. Taking a moment here to come back to the intent if you set one, or just to honor yourself where you are here and now, and to be loved just for that. Take a deep inhale through the nose, letting it out. Keeping the eyes closed, you're going to push your way back up to your easy seat. Bringing the hands to heart center and putting a little bow in the head. The light in me honors and respects the same divine light in all of you and everything that we think, do, and say. Namaste. Thank you all for joining me in this. I hope you liked it. If you want anything new, anything specific, feel free to leave it in the comments.